Hello my beautiful little Moglets. Today we're going over your daily responsibilities, basically the things you should be doing every day. This will be somewhat my personal preference of importance, but the first thing I want to do is check into my guild, so I make sure not to forget, I grab my diamond. It's very quick, it's fast, you don't need to fight anything, you don't need to farm anything, it's just you go there and you grab the thing. After that, you want to head to the SP dungeon. Most likely at this point you'll have quite a few gold keys, do those. Also, if you have more than 2 dungeon keys, make sure to make that a priority as well. They're very valuable and you don't want them to ever sit at 5 out of 5. So after checking in the guild, I personally want to go to the dungeon, but if you're more into PvP, then you should go there instead. First. PvP has its own currency where it caps out at 5 out of 5. Each ticket takes an hour to reset, so you'll most likely be full when you log on. The next thing you should do is check if there are any battle events going on. Currently we don't have any, but typically there are daily things you should do in there as well as some good rewards. The next thing you want to do is go to draw and get your free daily draw. At least for me, it's not giving me this exclamation point here, so I sometimes forget, so I think this is a pretty good reminder. You also have free daily equipment drawing. If you buy the weekly subscriptions, you want to pick those up as well. Some free gold every day in the silver coin shop. Some people recommend buying the 2 dungeon key bundles every day for 10 diamonds. However, this is obviously not very free to play friendly. It is the fastest, easiest way to get SSR pendants, but it's very expensive. So for free to play, save your diamonds for pulls. The next thing we're going to do is send all of our friendship points to our friends. You absolutely should not ignore friends tokens. You can actually get a lot per day and they're quite valuable. You can either get 5 stamina potions or a dungeon key bundle once you hit that 2000 mark. So now we're in the tavern. Make sure to always grab these 3 or 4 bottles of ale every day. They are quite good for affinity. As you can see here, you eventually want to get them maxed out for the costume piece. Gives them some extra stats, can be used in ungeared PvP. Just the outfits are pretty important. While you're here, you can cook a meal. This is part of your normal daily quests, so preferably make something you actually want and can use rather than just doing it for the daily task. You can also go around talking to everyone, responding to them, answering questions, etc. To raise their own heart levels. I personally don't do that every day. I don't think the reward is really worth it compared to how much affinity you need. Anyway, the next thing you should do is go up there to your little shield where it says your level. Click on that and go over to buff. Currently we have none, but for most of the week there is 50% off stamina somewhere. And that's usually what's going to dictate what you're farming for those given days. There is a sheet somewhere on the internet where it has a schedule. I personally prefer just to check out what's going on any given day. Just go up there, it's 2 clicks away. And then you can see exactly what's happening for that day, and that's where you should be spending the majority of your stamina. Of course, finish your daily tasks. The rewards for daily tasks in comparison to what you actually need to do is incredible, so definitely do them every day. So yeah, this page for a quick overview about what's half off stamina, but it's also important to check out the actual events tab here. So currently we have this power up exchange going on, which means you need to farm a little bit more dungeon than usual, because when you farm the dungeon you get these tickets which you can use to buy things in this event. And of course, you want to try and buy everything, so you should try and get those 50 tickets every day while that's going on. Here notices you'll also find the information what is currently half stamina. You always want to check the events tab as well, because typically there will be something like this here where you can do this every day. Last week we had one for doing PvP 3 times. You got 2 diamonds. That's pretty good and you shouldn't miss that either. If you're in your first couple of weeks, you should absolutely do all 6 boss battles every day, regardless if they're half off stamina or not, because you will need a lot of those awakening mats. Once you have your first 4 level 70s and you have a stash of those awakening mats, you don't necessarily need to do it every day. When there's half off stamina for these boss battles, I'm pretty much just spamming 1, mainly for the chalices, the water of life, the demon's blood, but also it's a good time to farm your SSR orbs and then destroy the low roll ones for enhanced stones. Besides boss battles being half off stamina, we also sometimes have free stages being half off stamina, and that's when I'm doing these quests. After 8 hard runs, which is only 40 energy, when it's half off, you get a guaranteed SSR piece, which you can again salvage for awakened stones, enhanced stones, whatever. One little gear tip I want to throw in here, I actually heard this a while ago, but I thought it was just superstitious. But I tried it a few times and it did seem to make a difference. But yeah, when you decide a piece of gear is bad, like this one for example only has a 2400 roll, you should still enhance it. Just a +1, that's what I prefer. before you salvage it. I did this once with 12 SSRs before throwing them into salvage, and I got 14 4-star stones. Another time I did it and I got even a 5-star stone. Those are much more rare, and I haven't really seen any of them since then, but it is possible to get 5-star awakening material and a lot of 4-star as well, which you can just upgrade to 5-star anyway. I wouldn't really bother doing that trick with SRs unless you're like the super patient type. Then yeah, go ahead. I definitely wouldn't though, just because it's way too much of a grind. You know, after several of those quests, you're gonna have a ton of SRs, and in comparison, just a handful of SSRs. So I think it's worth doing it to the SSRs, just yeah. You can also get 3 SR gold chests per day from watching ads here. Again, this is another thing I don't do every day just because it is kind of annoying, but if you're really needing gold, then that is one way to do it. Speaking of ads, when you're doing the dungeon, you'll get a pop-up every so-and-so runs where you can spin a wheel after watching an ad. You should absolutely do this all 3 times. The chance for getting something good is quite high. I would say by far the best thing you can get here is when you hit 2, where you have a chance to get a dungeon key bundle. 1s are always diamonds, and then 3s are always just like a book or something, so 3s are never good. 2s are most of the time good. I think it's either a 4-star XP pot, dungeon key bundle, or a gold key bundle. So 2 out of the 3 things are really good. And then if you hit a 1, I believe you get 1 diamond. So absolutely worth doing. On the same subject of gold, this isn't necessarily something you have to do every day, but before you sell your gold boxes, make sure to invite Veronica first. You can do that free once per day. All you gotta really do then is just leave the tavern, then pretty much come back, and she is sitting here. Talk to her. Then you need to give her a gift. If you don't have any, then you have to make it or buy it. So go back to ban, whip it up, give it to her, and then the selling price is increased by 20%. You got to make sure you're actually selling it at a shop where it says there's a 20% here in sell. So never ever sell your gold boxes in just through the menu. You have to go to one of these merchants, and then you can go ahead and sell your stuff. So yeah, that's a pretty old tip. I'm sure most of you have heard and known about that for a long time, but just for the ones who haven't, I thought I would throw it in here because it's a pretty important thing. There are also knighthood tasks. These are shared between all of the guild members. Also, I'm not even totally sure if normal members can see this screen, but ultimately this is up to the entire guild to complete these tasks. This is another thing just to sort of pay attention to, but pop-up shops are very important. You can get a lot of outfit material for gold, and a lot of the things, you know, you can only get at the pop-up shop anyway. Cosmetics in this game are pretty important. You can see the schedule here. You also get a pop-up telling you where it has opened, and just a button to warp there pretty much. So I wouldn't say it's super important to like memorize the schedule or anything, just keep an eye out for those pop-ups and go check the pop-up shop if there are any weapons or cosmetics one of your characters needs. And I think that's pretty much it generally. The question is, what do you do with the rest of your stamina once you're done with all your daily requirements or whatever? That mostly depends on which buffs we have. Today, apparently we have none, so it's more up to you. Check your heroes, which ones you will like want to awaken, go farm those awakening materials. It would be an alright time to do some boss battles too, but pretty much just until you get the deathmatch rate of 100 and then do the boss. I definitely wouldn't farm it or spam boss battles until it's 50% off, because that can get very expensive very fast. And if you're more on the free-to-play side, I just actually wouldn't spam anything when we don't have 50% off, if you want to be, you know, as efficient as possible. Stamina potions are easy to get, they are aplenty, but they're not unlimited, especially for free-to-play players. There aren't many things that never go 50% off, so by really spamming something like overnight or 16, 24 hours, you're really wasting a lot of stamina. Spend that day to focus more on PvP if you want. Use your natural regen energy on awakening materials or what have you. And when a certain section of content is 50% off, spam that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If there is anything I forgot, most likely there'll be a comment about it, the top comment. So check those, and if I did miss anything, drop it down there. Very much appreciated. Leaving a like if you happen to enjoy is always greatly appreciated as well. Thanks, as always, for watching, and until next time.